Hi, everyone. Welcome back for part 3 of this episode of Earthling Conversations. I'm Greta von Kirchmann, and I'm here with Joe Giarratano. And we're going to ask Joe to come back again because there's so many big, amazing parts to his life and the work he's done. Inside, when he was a prisoner, he was in the prison system in the United States, in Virginia, and then outside as well, continuing now. And so please do return for more episodes. In this last segment today, we're going to listen a bit to Joe to talk about the program that he created that in prison that was about peace studies, alternatives to violence, and as well job training, and a really successful program. And we're talking about working with people from both sides of the political divide, both sides of the political aisle, which is a very current and important topic. So I'm going to turn it over and just ask you, Joe, please, go ahead and describe the program and especially the part where you had the job training program, and then Republican and Democrat leaning politicians from different states took interest and the program spread.
Well, I came up with an idea. Prisons, you go into any prison, they have programs. Most people say, what can we do to fix our prison system, or what can we do to help prisoners? What new programs do we need? Well, I figured out a long time ago we didn't need new programs.
Okay.
We got all the programs in the world. What we needed to do was change the way we thought about those programs.
I see.
And the way that we treated people. So we had to change our patterns of thinking.
Excellent.
And I'm big on people taking responsibility for what they do.
Okay.
Including my fellow prisoners that I was in prison with. I didn't care what they were in there for. I didn't care what they did. This is where you were at. You still have a life ahead of you. Take responsibility now.
Okay.
Nobody can fix you but yourself. And I wanted to create something that would help them do that, to create an incentive to do that.
Yeah.
And what I decided to do, I had been working with people like Coleman McCarthy and Bishop Sullivan before he had passed away. Coleman said something to me years ago that stuck with me. He said, we teach our children about war. We
Right.
teach them about conflict, and we teach them, but we don't teach peace.
Okay.
And Coleman made that part of his life work, was to start teaching peace. So I said, well, in prison, there's always conflict. Prisoners are always battling with each other, rival gangs, this, that, and the other. What I wanted to do was create a program that the men themselves could call their own, make them a part of the creation, let them help create it. So what I did is I took Coleman's basic curriculum, which was giving classes where guys would read essays from the great peacemakers of the world, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Dorothy Day, those folks. They would sit down in these groups and discuss these essays after they read them, and then write their own essays.
Fantastic.
But it was an open forum. But I knew that wasn't enough.
Okay.
Even if they got on the right track, these guys would still be getting out of prison not having these skills. So we wanted to start a job training program. And we looked, most guys were computer illiterate, so we decided to start a program that would deal with computer literacy, teach guys desktop publishing, relational database stuff, and basic computer stuff as well, and audio visual, something that would get these guys' interest.
Okay.
And we wound up creating a video for the Virginia Library at one time, of all the libraries in the state. They went out and filmed it, and then we overdubbed everything and put everything together for them.
So you basically were the producers of a video.
Well, somebody on the outside, we couldn't get out to take the pictures.
Okay.
They had somebody travel around with the video camera to all the
Take the
public libraries
footage.
to take the footage. Then we came back and put everything together.
Edited together.
And overdubbed everything and told the story. But
so you were teaching video production.
Video production as well. But we were only able to do that. Part of our program, we had to become a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
It was one of the first nonprofit organizations ever created within the Virginia prison system.
I see.
But it had 3 prongs. We had the initial peace study stuff, teaching conflict resolution, introducing guys to peace. To get into the program, the first thing you had to do was either have your GED or be in the process of getting your GED.
Okay.
Once you graduated from that 13-week course, you could enter into the job training program. We had that set up. And the equipment came from people like Panasonic and Bill Gates. They donated the stuff once we became a nonprofit.
Excellent.
So we had all of our equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And the third prong was our victim offender workshops.
Okay.
Creating reconciliation between prisoners and victims.
Wow. All right.
And we worked with some of the largest victims' rights groups in the country, one of them being Murder Victims' Families for Reconciliation. And these people would come, and these were people who had their family members murdered. They would come into the prison and sit down in our groups and talk with the guys in prison, and these guys would talk to them and create these relationships to get guys to understand the consequences of their actions, of the things that they did.
I see.
And how crime affects real people on the outside. And
was that your idea?
That was my idea and Marie Dean's idea.
I see.
And it was about reconciliation. And it's all done under the concept of restorative justice. Our prison system, our criminal justice system is based on punishment and revenge, retribution.
Okay.
And not on reconciliation and the Quaker model of reintegrating people back into society as full members of society. So what we did with our program, and this worked well for Republicans and Democrats, and the prison system. One, it didn't cost the prison system any money.
Okay.
It didn't cost taxpayers any money. We became a nonprofit organization. We raised all of our own money through grants and private donations. Our job training program, once you graduated from that program, you came to work for us for the nonprofit. And we created all our own program materials. All of our videos that were going out to other states to set up the programs in other prison systems was created in-house.
I see.
And we paid these guys minimum wage. So now you have prisoners in prison making a salary. Now you're doing this under a nonprofit, so the other thing that they have to do when they're making the salary is they have to pay taxes.
I see. Mm-hmm.
So these guys were in prison paying state and federal taxes. They also had the obligation to pay off their child support if they had child support, their court fines, court costs, whatever costs that were attributed to the trial and all. They had to pay all this money back. And they had an income to do that with. Even though it was a small income, they're paying it off. That's important because most of the guys coming out of the system now don't have that. They're not paying taxes. They're not paying off their fines. They're getting violated for not doing so and winding up back in prison, which increases the cost for the taxpayer overall. So they're not contributing members to society. That got Republicans' attention. It got Democrats' attention. We had legislators coming in from other states to study our program from both sides of the aisle. And they were bringing this program back to their legislatures. It was odd. It was funny in this sense. One of the first articles that came out about our program didn't come out from the local media around us. It came out from Corrections Today, the American Correctional Association's trade paper.
Fantastic.
Wrote a big article about us talking about the benefits of this program. They had a big conference and some Virginia legislators and people went to this conference, and people at the conference were asking Virginia legislatures about this program, and they couldn't tell them anything. They didn't know.
I see.
So we're sitting back in the prison, and the warden comes to us, hey, you have to give us a crash course in this program. Tells us we got politicians calling us. We want to know what's going on here so we can talk about it.
It's just fantastic, and I definitely want to.
But it got people together
Right.
focused on the same problem.
Right. Uh-huh. I see. I totally see. So what I want to do is follow up with more episodes, and so that I'm going to do research to find out how many of these programs are still out there, because obviously such an amazing and productive thing was created, and I want to know how much has been sustained and what's out there happening now. Because in the last few minutes of this episode, I want to ask you a question it's a huge question, but just for
All your questions are huge.
I know, but just for
cool.
for fun. And again, I'm going to remind everyone, we're going to have Joe Giarratano back, because there's so many important parts of the experience of creating peace and so forth, and his own skills and experience. Because to wrap up today, again, it's a vague question, but to throw it out there, why do you think that prison system is as dysfunctional as it is today? And perhaps the question, to be more specific, your program, the program that you created, why isn't that model blossomed to because the number of decades, it's been what, 2 decades since you first created it? Really, it should have blossomed, and our prison systems should be in much better shape, but it's not. So why do you think? It's obviously not for lack of what you've done. Why do you think? And we literally have like maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
Again, with our specific program in Virginia, what brought its downfall was politics.
Really?
Democrats and Republicans shooting themselves in the foot.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting this answer.
Yeah. And,
really?
And if that was the downfall, it happened in 95.
Okay.
When George Allen was running for governor.
All right.
To get elected.
He was running as a
Republican.
Okay. In Virginia.
And his platform was to get tough on crime.
Okay.
And his tough on crime approach was he was going to abolish parole in this state.
So we're talking 1995, war on drugs, abolish parole, tough on crime. Yeah. Okay, so Republican running, and what do you mean when you say they're down? They're downfall.
That was the downfall of our program.
I see.
Because his platform was to abolish parole, which he accomplished. But he brought in a prison director who decided that to meet the tough on crime thing, he was going to shut down all prisoner programming.
Wow.
And that included our...
I see.
It goes back to what I said earlier in the segment about our philosophy of corrections is punishment.
Right.
Not reconciliation.
Yes.
This guy said publicly that he was going to reintroduce the prisoners of Virginia back to the joys of breaking rocks, that we were in prison not to be rehabilitated, but to die.
So basically it's like we were going to go right back to the Stone Age. Yeah. All right, so I hope we're going to say goodbye for today. I hope if everyone listening or interested, please look more into this and follow up with us for more episodes, because you can go and find out about Joe's work and the programs that he's been involved with. And I'm going to let him give you his website.
First, if you have any questions, direct them to Greta's website. If you have any personal questions for me, send them to her. Okay,
that would be GretaVonKirchmann.com, and I'll put that in the link in the show description.
And my website's a little bit out of date, but everything you want to know about me, you can probably find on there. It's freejoeg.com.
Excellent. And I will put that link in the show description as well. So thank you, everyone. This is Greta von Kirchmann saying goodbye, love, light, peace, and power to all of you. Take care.